welcome everyone to another week of the Focus TV, joined by Octavia Wyatt, Raymond Lyons, Cardo W. Jr., Wilson Turbot Jr. This is season 9, episode 22 of the Focus. That said, last week we told you guys, with the Mystics, with the league kind of starting training camp and everything last week. By this time, by this week, we will have seen some preseason play. So, Ray, the floor is yours.
Yeah, the Mystics opened their preseason against Minnesota on Saturday. They fell 77-66. Yeah, if it's any preseason you don't want to put too much stock into, it's the WNBA preseason. This the roster they went to war with on Saturday is going to look vastly different by the time the games start counting. But nevertheless, it was good to see Georgia Amore out there. People have been really excited to see her on the court in the Mystics uniform since she was drafted. She missed last season due to injury, so it was just good to see her out there on the court. And what the things she was expected to bring to the team, you saw it in flashes, and just the limited time she was on the floor. Just being able to get into the lane and compromise the defense and get high quality looks for teammates. That's something that the Mystics struggle with at times last year. So she's definitely going to help alleviate those issues. Lauren Betts had a decent showing. I liked her aggression, her tenacity. We always talk about how to jump from college to the pros is a huge adjustment. Uh, just strictly due to the bigger, faster athletes and just the physicality of the game. So it was good to see her kind of throw a weight around out there. Roy Harmon came off the bench with a lot of energy. And just like Georgia, she's able to get into the lane and make things happen, and defensively as well, just super scrappy. So yeah, those are some positives. Something that has to improve. And again, this is the preseason, but as the season progresses, they're going to have to shoot the ball well. They did the opposite of that on Saturday, specifically in the third quarter. But yeah, it was just good to see some of the new faces kind of gel with some of the other players they're going to be playing with, and just to see what they will bring to the team. Cody McMahon as well. She super aggressive on both ends. She she has a objective to score the basketball. And we saw that, not being shy. Getting downhill, which is something she displayed in college. So yeah, man, just good to see the rookies get in the mix in their first in game action. They have another preseason game on Sunday. So, just going to continue to see how they develop and what adjustments are going to be made from the first preseason game to the second. And yeah, man, just excited to get this season started. They got a lot of new weapons to play with. Once we see this team whole, it's going to be it's going to be interesting, man. One thing I pointed out, and one thing that immediately stood out to me on Saturday, was how big the Mystics are across the board. Really the only undersized players they have are Roy Harmon and Georgia Amore. Everybody else is at least 6 feet. So yeah, the coaching staff is going to have fun kind of mixing and matching those lineups on both ends. Defensively, they're going to be a problem. I don't think that's going to go anywhere. Just for their length, they've upgraded athletically as well compared to last season. So yeah, man, just looking for them to take advantage of the new pieces they have, and yeah, just people seem to be excited about the season within the organization and the fans. So they're just looking to see them maximize their potential.
Yeah, as Ray said, their second preseason game is this Sunday, so we'll check in with you guys then from this is pregame and outlook like normal. But there's something that happened this week, kind of a big deal if you're in the football or whatever. NFL draft happened, so NFC's folks. Octavia's here. Octavia, your thoughts on your division and you know uh, the young people that they all brought in this week.
Cool. Yeah. NFL draft. It's always a time, especially when it goes weekends. Thursday through Friday, we had round 1 on Thursday night, excuse me, rounds 2 and 3 on Friday, and then rounds 4 through 7 on Saturday. So yeah, the NFC East was a little bit busy. Some teams more than others. So I'll go through the list of the new potential players in the NFC East for this upcoming season. So we'll go ahead and start at your defending NFC East champions, the Philadelphia Eagles. So in the first round, they had with the 20th pick, Mekhi Lemon, wide receiver out of USC. In the second round, with the 54th pick, they had Eli Stowers, tight end from Vanderbilt. In the third round, with the 68th pick, Markel Bell, offensive tackle from Miami. In the fifth round, with the 178th pick, Cole Payton, quarterback from North Dakota State. They love quarterbacks from North Dakota State, it seems like. Round 6, with the 207th pick, Michael Morris, a guard from Georgia. They love Georgia players as well. Round 7, with the 244th pick, Cole Wisniewski, safety from Texas Tech. Also in round 7, with the 251st pick, Uar Bernard, defensive tackle from the International Player Pathway Program, which they also really love as well. And finally, in round 7, with the 252nd pick, Keyshawn James Newby, an outside linebacker from New Mexico. Quick synopsis just on the draft class. It looks like, of course, they're definitely intentional about the players that they picked. Of course, the biggest name coming out of this draft class is going to be the Mekhi Lemon of it all, knowing that AJ Brown is more than likely no longer going to be a Philadelphia Eagle this time, well, at the start of the season, sometime post June 1st. And to get I can never say the name of the award, but you guys know what I'm talking about, Biletnikoff award-winning wide receiver from USC. Now, we don't have a great track record with USC wide receivers, but this one should be a hit. I'm so interested to see how he fits in. I know a lot of people are talking about the stature, talking about how his size doesn't necessarily make up for exactly everything that you're losing in AJ Brown. But I think with the other picks that they have with the wide receiver, not in the draft, but also within this offseason and through free agency, it'll be interesting to say the least. As I say that, I realized I missed out on one thing. It wasn't a draftee, but there was a trade on one of the draft nights. Jonathan Grenard is now going to be a Philadelphia Eagle coming over from the Minnesota Vikings. That's a great pickup. Definitely needed that pickup after all of the defense that left the building in the offseason. So super duper excited to see how he fits in. No, he had a down year last year, but it seems a lot of times we get players that may have had a down year the year before or during the year, and we seem to be able to make some good out of them. Now, of course, he's coming from a great defense and a great defensive coach in Brian Flores, and going to another great defense and another great defensive coach in Vic Fangio. So super excited to see how that goes. They also drafted Eli Stowers, tight end, with the new offensive coordinator. He might really like 2 tight end sets, knowing that Dallas Goedert is only on a 1-year deal and he's kind of getting long in the tooth, I'll be honest. Super excited to see what Eli Stowers brings to it. And then obviously the International Player Pathway Program, they've had a lot of players. Well, they've had players come through that, most notably Jordan Mailata, who's turned out to be a really great player. Funny story, my dad kept telling me, he was like, it's this big dude. I don't know where he used to play from. All I know is he's huge. And I want to see where he ended up going. And I remember when the pick happened and I went to my dad and I said, was this the player you were talking about? And he said, I hate y'all. My dad's a Cowboys fan, so let me put that out there. So super excited to see how that works out, knowing that the defensive side, and we know what Vic Fangio can do. Excited to see that mammoth of a man become a great player on our defensive side. All in all, the average grade throughout the media for the Philadelphia Eagles was a B. Pretty much a solid draft. Didn't do anything too splashy. They definitely went down and got some offensive line help, knowing that we've had some injuries in the past year and then not knowing where we're going to stand with Lane Johnson after this year. So all in all, pretty solid draft. Next, we'll go to the Dallas Cowboys. In round 1 with the 11th overall pick, they picked Caleb Downs, safety from Ohio State. Also in round 1, with the 23rd pick, I guess I should note that we gave them our pick and they gave us theirs. We appreciate that for getting Makai Lemon. But they've selected Malachi Lawrence, edge out of UCF. In the 3rd round with the 92nd pick, they picked Jayshawn Barham, edge linebacker from Michigan. 4th round with the 112th pick, Drew Shelton, offensive tackle from Penn State. Round 4, 114th pick, Devin Moore, cornerback from Florida. Round 4, 137th pick, left tackle Overton. LT Overton, excuse me, defensive line Alabama. And round 7, 218th pick, Anthony Smith, wide receiver out of East Carolina. Definitely they leaned into what they heavily need, which we know is defense. I'm sure they're happy to get a couple of pieces on offense, but the way that we've seen their defense in the last couple of years, defense was definitely needed, especially with the no longer having the services of Michael Parsons. I think that it was pretty obvious that was what their goals were. Definitely getting Caleb Downs as a centerpiece to their defense. Hard-hitting safety. But again, my dad's a Cowboys fan. When that happened, he was like, it's not going to make any difference if we don't get anybody up front. And they followed that up and got somebody up front with the pass rush versatility of Lawrence as well as Barham, giving them multiple alignment options up front. They also got some depth picks in there with Moore and Overton, adding rotational flexibility. Also, Shelton, Drew Shelton, maybe being a developmental piece for them, but it's always great to have depth, especially at the offensive line. Overall, it seems like they're definitely within a win now mentality. We know there's still the looming situation. I haven't heard anything today if George Pickens actually did sign the franchise tag after Adam Schefter came out and stated that he is slated to sign it, but he hasn't signed it yet from the last I heard. So that will also make it very interesting to see what else happens in this offseason for the Dallas Cowboys. Overall, for the media, they gave them a B+ in their draft. Very strong marks for landing Caleb Downs, definitely making sure that they go aggressively to fix their defense. And yeah, they're high B, A. But I think it's worth noting, as much as we rag on the Cowboys and, everybody talks about them and Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones and Charlie Jones and all those Joneses, they do usually pretty much have a pretty decent draft every year. And I don't think this was anything different than what they're used to. Next, we'll go to the Washington Commanders, who has a very short list of draftees. They only had 2 picks in the draft this year. In round 1 with the 7th pick, they picked Sonny Styles, linebacker from Ohio State. And in round 3, they picked Joshua Joseph, edge from Tennessee. Very small class, as we stated. We know they've done a lot of pick swapping and trading away for a lot of capital that they pulled in over the last 2 years of the Dan Quinn era. So not that surprising that they didn't have that many draft picks. But of course, Sonny Styles brings immediate athleticism and leadership to the defense that lacked an identity, while Joshua Josephs is a developmental pass rusher with a burst, but clear refinement needs. Class just seems like, get a good piece, try to build off of what we've already had. We know last year was a down year for them, even though a lot of it was due to injuries on both sides of the ball. So I think they're really banking on the fact that those players will be healthy, the ones that are still there, because some of those players that weren't healthy are no longer there. But those players that are there, that they'll be healthy and they'll be able to have a redo of last year. And that looks more like the year before when they went to the NFC championship game against the Philadelphia Eagles. The overall consensus was they got a C+, viewed as defensive first, but overall thin. But Sonny Styles is going to be of course, the big bill on the ticket to see how he fits in with this defense, especially with a defensive-minded coach like Dan Quinn. And last but not least, who many have said had the best draft class of the NFC East, the New York Giants. The New York Giants, with their draft class in the first round with the 5th overall pick, they selected Arvell Reese, edge linebacker from Ohio State. Also in round 1 with the 10th pick, Francis Malugo, offensive line from Miami. Round 2, 37th pick, Colton Hood, cornerback from Tennessee. In the third round, 74th pick, Malachi Fields, wide receiver from Notre Dame. Round 6, 186th pick, Bobby Jameson Travis, defensive tackle from Auburn. Round 6, 192nd pick, J.C. Davis, guard from Illinois. And round 6, with the 193rd pick, Jack Kelly, linebacker from BYU. A lot of people say that the Giants had one of the most well-balanced and high-impact classes within the division. Of course, high marks for Arvell Reese. Of course, there was a little bit of noise back and forth of who would be available at that time, but I think they did make a good decision with going with Arvell Reese, even though it's not outside of their MO that they've done over the past couple of years. We know they have garnered a lot of defensive players up front, even though, of course, they most notably lost one of their best in Dexter Lawrence. But it seems like they're already in, if you want to call it rebuild, reload mode to kind of shift that up. So basically gives them another dynamic defensive chess piece who could definitely line up in multiple spots, while also, I can never say this last name, Mauga will helpfully solidify their offensive line, which we know they've had troubles with in the past couple of years. Colton Hood and Malachi Fields definitely address some of their premium position places that they have. Outside of Malik Neighbors, there wasn't really a notable wide receiver, and then we know Malik Neighbors will be coming back off of the injury. And we know on the cornerback side, it didn't always pan out the way that they intended it to be. So these two pieces might actually help solidify that for them on both sides of the ball and possibly give Malik Neighbors, a little bit of time. I know he notably came out and said that he had some concerns with some of the picks, but that's what happens when you're a New York Giant. Those things happen. So it looks like with John Harbaugh's first draft as the head coach of the New York Giants that they're definitely looking to exit the rebuild mode and definitely trying to get into the mode of being competitive within the NFC East when it comes to playing, even though I definitely feel like that was their goal these last couple of years. So it's just really waiting to see if that actually comes to fruition for them across the media outlets. They were a grade clear winner. Definitely praised their value at the top of the draft, and everybody just overall thought that they had a really good draft. So it's going to be a lot, as always, going on in the NFC East. So there are people that think the NFC East as a whole had one of the best drafts for the divisions. But we'll see. Crazy things have happened in the NFC East, as we know, every year. But yeah, that's all we got for the draft.
Yeah, it was weird watching y'all's entire division be competent drafted. It was just really weird. Top to
Appreciate
bottom. So I look forward to y'all going crazy, more so than ever, week to week. I was sad about Malachi Fields because he's in y'all division, but at least I get to watch him, I guess, a couple times a year. But we're gonna move over to the NBA playoffs. We have one team that has advanced to the second round already. Everybody else still fighting to try to advance. So Cardell, we're gonna start off with you. I'm gonna go get that. I'll get the bracket up on the screen, and just your thoughts as we continue to make our way through this first round because things have changed from a couple weeks ago when we were talking about the play-in before we got to officially the first round and how things have shook out this far.
Yeah, I get the Thunder and Suns. We all knew what that was going to be about, man. The Thunder, the defending champs, they're on a mission, home court advantage. The Suns are a little bit wounded. They're just going up and fairly young outside of Booker. Jalen Green's still young, but he's a vet by years, and obviously the Dylan Brooks. But overall, they're just too young and too inexperienced to deal with the Thunder. To make it more competitive, even though they fought. In the last game, but I think everybody kind of understand it was going to be what it was this week. The Lakers and Rockets, it took a lot out of the series with KD being hurt. Obviously, the Lakers. I know everybody's trying to hype it up like this is some big upset and not, but it's really not. You clearly see the seeds. It's like that for a reason, man. And the Rockets are very young, very inexperienced. Outside of Kevin Durant, they don't have their point guard who's missing the season with a torn ACL. So I don't see how it could be this big upset and all that. But we know how narratives go with certain teams and certain players, man. So But they just handling business, man, against a young team that's dealing with not just playoff pressure and expectations. They're dealing with a all-time great player who's playing chess with them, and they're not ready for that yet. That's what us old heads as the youngest like to say. That's what we mean by they don't know how to play basketball yet. You know what I mean? And it's really nothing, out of this world that the Lakers are doing. They're just forcing the Rockets to play to their weaknesses, and the Rockets are allowing them to do that. And, Game 3 was just crazy how they blew that game. You know what I mean? That was just. That's one of those games. If you back in college or something, you scared of the next practice because it's going to be life threatening because of the poor decision making. Just cross half court and you win, and they just turned the ball over time and time again, and they lost the game. But to their credit, they fought the next game. They go out and they won. You know what I mean? And they got to continue to fight. So that series has gone honestly how I would expect it. With KD being out there, if KD was healthy playing, then yeah, I'd be like, all right, this is a little bit crazy. Maybe 2-2, in that range. But 3-1, the way the Lakers have looked over the first couple games, where they just made them look like little kids just trying to learn how to play basketball. I would be more shocked if KD was healthy, but that's not the case. The Nuggets and Timberwolves, man. It sucks that Ant-Man and Dante DiVincenzo got banged up. Ant banged up, and Dante's out. He might be out through next year. Blown out Achilles, man. And we all knew as soon as he did it, the way Ant-Man fell, the best possible scenario came because it could have easily been something worse. The way he landed, especially where he came from, how high he was, that was a nasty knee buckle, nasty hyperextension. Obviously when they're healthy, Minnesota has proven to be the better team. They had the Nuggets number, but with those guys out last night, and obviously the Nuggets fight for their life last night, they managed to, win convincingly. But the thing is, if Minnesota should be encouraged, they had a couple chances to kind of seize that game, but 24, 25 turnovers, you can't win no game like that. I don't care. Preseason, regular season, playoffs, pick up. It don't matter. You keep giving the team chances to beat you, they're going to beat you. It's just as simple as that. So I'm eager to see what happens when they go home. Obviously, role players play better at home. I'm eager to see who's going to have to step up for the Timberwolves and try to. I'm not saying cover for Ant-Man and those guys brought, but just like single-handedly or through a couple players, but like through a balanced attack, multiple players trying to carry the load in their own unique way to make up for that, to get the job done. Because I feel like if they can get to the second round, Ant-Man, he'll bounce back quick to try to help them out with the Spurs or whatnot, but they got to get there. And, I got so much respect for Nikola Jokic, man. He one of those players, you got to take him out before I just be like, all right, he's beat. Because he's just too great, and that's just what it is. The Spurs and Trailblazers is gone about it how I expected. I know the Spurs are young, but the Trailblazers just don't have enough talent to kind of and skill. They're tough, they defend well, they're versatile, they're athletic, but they don't have enough skill to deal with what the Spurs bring. The Spurs they're deep, man, and they're young, they're hungry, they're well coached, and they got a lot of skills, and they got that monster in the middle. And let's be real, had he not got the concussion, this probably would have been 4-0. Let's just keep it real. And I'm not even trying to disrespect the Blazers, but it's not. And I think the Spurs gonna be game to try to make sure it's done. And 4-1. And if you let's say I know the Spurs have a veteran organization, even though they have a young team and a young coach. I know the veteran front office is letting them know, get this over with so you can get rest, get ready for a harder series that's coming up either way with the Nuggets and Timberwolves. Don't mess around. Don't give this team any confidence. For the East, this is the one series I'm really shocked at how it's gone with Orlando just whooping up on the Pistons, man. This not good. And we can try to nitpick all we want. Jalen Dorn. Jalen Dorn, MIA, man. all-star. That's and the crazy thing is they're getting beat with their own style, and that's why the playoff style makes fights. And you know, it honestly, this series is Zach Randolph, man. I'm from where the bullies get bullied, and they're bullying the bully, and the bully don't know how to act. It's like, yo, we're not used to this, and that's exactly what's going on. Like Wendell and the boys, and they jump in Doran out of whack, and then if he out of whack because of his presence inside, how he scores and how he rolls to the basket, he shrinks the floor that way and gets everybody else outside Cade clean open looks. But when he's not going, you can stay at home, and then that puts more pressure on Cade to have to play hero ball, and they're jumping Cade. You know what I mean? They got a lot of they got a lot of wings and guards to throw at him and wear him down, man, and it's working. You know, this series is shocking. I'm not gonna lie. Like for you to win like 60 games and be on the verge and go home in the first round, to a team that has been struggling majority of the season to find their rhythm, and it's like that play-in. It's like the play-in, it clicked for some reason. It clicked, and they've been balling ever since. It's like the NCAA tournament, man. The hot team is just hot, and they're going through everybody, and it's like, yo, what is going on, man? And like they're jumping Cade, like Cade had 8 turnovers in that game. That was 6 assists. Like that's 7 of 23 from the field, dog. That's just nasty, man. That's you can't even talk about the 25 points because that erases all of that. And then you got Doran with 12 and 8 in 30 minutes. It's like, yo, they need more. They just need more. Meanwhile, on the other side, Paulo, 18, 8 and 4. Even with him not shooting the ball well, he still made an impact because, like I said, he's locking up Doran. Desmond Bain was bombing away 22, 5 of 10 from deep, even though he's inefficient overall. Jalen Suggs was 1 for 13. Wendell Carter 3 for 8, but he had 12 and 11. Franz Wagner had 19, 5 and 3, 7 to 15. Him and Jamal Cain. Jamal Cain had a monster game off the bench with the 8, 9, 4 of 8, and probably the dunk of the playoffs. You know, that's probably easy to say. But what I'm saying is you lost to a team that starters had multiple players shoot less than 30%. Yeah, man. That's one of them mind-boggling type of series, man. Like no one would have ever thought that, man. And so it's and if they go home, it's gonna be rough in Detroit. It's gonna be rough, especially in this social media age. They're already talking about it. I've seen some funny memes and stuff, but we're gonna keep going. Cleveland Cavaliers and Toronto Raptors being tied. I'm not shocked by that. You know, the Cavs can be up and down. They've been up and down all year. The Raptors are feisty. Once they kind of got Ingram back on track, so to speak, that's how they won. And RJ Barrett been going crazy the last 2 games. The Cleveland Cavaliers, man, they disappear outside Donovan Mitchell. You can't trust somebody on that side. And look, you know, we gotta keep it real on the show. Mr. Harden in the postseason. Yeah, it is what it is, man. So that's why when they be, you know, that debate they had with D Wade a few weeks ago, I'm like, let's not do that. Let's not do that. I know he's older, but you are on a team with this much talent. You was traded for Darius Garland to be the guy to get him over the hump, right? And you're not, so far, it hasn't been the case. It hasn't been. And we know the Toronto Raptors are young, but they're annoying. And think about it, the Raptors are doing this. They're tied 2-2, and they only have Emmanuel quickly. So, and it's not just him. Jared Allen, I don't know what happens to him in the playoffs, man. He's even worse. Like, it's like you too talented to be disappearing, man. Man. Like, they got to figure out something, man. They got to figure out something because talent, like if you look at both rosters, Cleveland should be up at least 3-1 if they ain't swept the Raptors, especially with how bad Ingram has been playing, and you got home court. For them to be 2-2, that's dangerous. That's dangerous, man, because now they got confidence and they feel like they can go in there and get it, and they have no fear. So outside, you keep Donovan Mitchell under control where he's not going crazy. What is there really to fear on that side? And then that's your real. The Knicks and the Hawks been fun. I ain't gonna lie, that's been a fun series to watch, man. Going back and forth, CJ CJ Rumlin, he leading those guys. He's doing for them what we just saw him do for the Wizards at the beginning. Whenever they allowed it, they ain't bench him for, other reasons. But y'all know what I mean. When he's allowed to play, that's what he was doing for them. And, they responded. Obviously, the Knicks, more proven, battle-tested. I think they found something with playing through Carl Anthony Towns last game. We're going to see if it continues or if they revert back. Because let's be real, throughout the series, he's the one guy that the Hawks can't deal with. Okongwu's trying, but he's just too small. It is what it is. Style makes fights, and size matters in the NBA, man. He's just too small. He's athletic, he's tough, he's game, he's competitive, but Karl Anthony Towns can kill you multiple ways, man. Then he's showing his passing ability, and that's how OG and all those guys got off. That's how Josh Hart got off. And then it allowed Brunson to just pick his spots. And that's how you got the balanced attack, man. So we're going to see how the Hawks kind of, how they kind of bounce back from that. That was kind of the first beatdown that they got. Most of the games have been competitive. But, outside McCollum, Jalen Johnson needs to get going. He's supposedly their best player. He's their franchise guy. He got to get going. I love what I've been singing from Nikhil Alexander-Walker, obviously. And, Jonathan Kuminga. Got to give him credit. Outside his three-point shooting, he's shooting 18% in the series. He's shown the Warriors made a mistake with him. And they shouldn't have been playing him all along, man. So, like I said, they're young. They don't have as much talent and depth as the Knicks, but they're scrapping. And if they keep games close, CJ has shown he can bring it home. And I think that's the recipe that they got to try to live and die with moving forward. Who else? Last one, Boston and Philly. That's going on now. I expect Boston to handle business. Embiid can only move on one side of the floor. He can't guard nobody. They got plenty of guys that can jump. Tyrese Maxey. Edgecombe was talented, but he's still a rookie. You got to figure it out. Paul George, still effective, but he's not like Indiana Paul George or OKC Paul George, where you can kind of ride him and he can win the game. Boston with the home court and that coaching staff, and it's not even just Tatum and Brown anymore. How Peyton Pritchard's been playing. Derek White has already been there. Like I said, they got too many guys that have gotten it done in big game moments, man, and they know how to win. So I expect them to close it out so they can move on, get rest, and continue their push to try to get another championship.
All right. Right. Your thoughts on the playoffs in October?
Yeah, I don't have too much to add. Just the two series that I'm looking at is Nuggets and Timberwolves. With those injuries for Minnesota, that makes things interesting. I was saying if they let the Nuggets get Game 5, and for them to extend that series with the Timberwolves wounded like that, we could. And then, like Ardell pointed out, they got Joe on the other side. That they could walk them down. So Minnesota I think they gotta come out and get this next game, man. And Knicks and Hawks, feel like the Hawks missed the opportunity the last game. If you got a team on the ropes like that, you got to keep the pressure on them. They gave them a chance to catch their breath. And again, they found something that works with playing through Towns. And if they stick to the script, then, they could pull this one out. Cavs and Raptors, that Cavs core, they on the clock, man. They've been they were supposed to make some noise and push themselves into legitimate contender territory, and they just haven't been able to do it. This series go the wrong way, we might see some action over there. So I was skeptical of the Harden move, because like Ardell pointed out, you bring him in to get you over the hump in this situation, but we all know what happens to him around this time of year. So yeah, man, I wasn't too high on that. But Detroit and Orlando is definitely the biggest surprise. Orlando's just beating them up, and it's definitely surprising to see them wilt under that pressure, because that's what they do to other teams. But yeah, man, they're not responding well at all, and Orlando was on their neck. So they gotta look in the mirror and climb their way out this hole. I don't think they're gonna be able to do it. Um, yeah, but everything else is pretty much gone as expected. Yeah, we knew what the Thunder, what type of time OKC was on. They got them up out of there quick. Yeah, the Rockets without KD and no point guard. They're just hapless out there. They just can't handle what's going on in the playoffs right now. And Spurs and Trailblazers, Spurs are just clearly the better team, and they have the best player in the series. So yeah, that's going how I expected to go. And Boston and Philly as well. Yeah, Boston's just clearly better. Philly don't have the firepower to deal with them. So yeah, man, got a couple games going on tonight. Yeah, just looking forward to continuing to watch these series. But yeah, Knicks and Hawks definitely that's definitely been fun to see them duke it out, especially with the Knicks, another team with expectations on their shoulders. So it's imperative that they at least get out of this series, because if they don't, boy, that New York media, they don't play no games, man.
I can't wait. I'll tell you your thoughts on the playoffs.
Yeah, honestly, a lot of the series have been very entertaining. Start with the one that was a sweep. Thunder just doing what it is, so there's not really much that we can really talk about. Like Cardell pointed out, they're still relatively young. I think not Devin Booker. Dylan Brooks is the D and the B's keep throwing me off. Jesus, Dylan Brooks. He did everything he could to be an irritant as much as he possibly could. But I think one thing that I loved about watching the series was they even mentioned it, like SJ never gets too high, never gets too low. His face never changes, his demeanor never changes. He just goes in there and does what he needs to do. And none of those antics really bothered him like that. So not really surprised in that. Again, like you guys said, Lakers and Rockets, not surprised with no KD. I'll be honest, I was disappointed there was no KD. I know Father Time is undefeated, and I know you can't bounce back from injuries the way that you used to be able to in your youth, but I'll be honest, I was disappointed. I really wanted to see the battle again, and to see how it would shake out. But here we are, and I think he's already doubtful to play tonight, or he's already out not playing tonight. And at this point, Austin Reeves is even pending as a game time decision. I don't know if they've made the decision if he's going to play or not. Where you probably just out there trying to get some run and get ready for the next round. The Nuggets and the Timberwolves series has been fun as well. I love the physicality. I love the angriness. I love the I don't like you, you don't like me. I'm gonna call you out by your name and say you can't play defense. You can. I love all of the drama in that one. You got to give shout outs to Rudy Gobert, who's always been, kind of talked about, especially when it comes up to him playing against Jokic, and he's holding his own, if not more than what Jokic has been doing in this playoffs. He's really been taking it to him. Yeah, they got him back last night, and like Carter also said, it's going to be a tough situation knowing that Dante DiVincenzo and might have add another player who wears the number 0 has torn their Achilles, which is super freaky. And then the situation that's also happened to Anthony Edwards, for them both to be out. But also shout out to DeSumo. He's been doing everything he possibly can do as well to come from the Chicago Bulls mid-season. He's only been there for 2 months, basically. Dropped the 42 piece and did everything he can. So they're going to lean heavily on him, as well as Julius Randle and Naz Reid. Got to stay out of foul trouble. But we've seen the Nuggets walk down 3-1s before. It's been a couple of years, but we've seen them do it. And now without arguably 2 of your best players or your starting backcourt, it's definitely going to make it interesting for this series going forward. Spurs and Trailblazers, I love the fight that the Trailblazers put up. But like you guys said, they just don't have enough. To be up by, I think I was watching the game, and they were up like between 13 and 17, and I was like, wow. Okay, and I think I closed my eyes for 20 minutes, and I was like, whoa. Now they down by 13-17. So it's I think it's good for them, for them to have been competing. But it's also, we have to remember the Spurs, outside of what Harrison Barnes and maybe De'Aaron Fox, a lot of them are young as well when it comes into them playing in the playoffs. So they got to make sure that they don't play with their food either. But I think that series is going the way that we expected it as well. Pistons and Magic, like you guys already stated as well. Well, it's no fun when a rabbit got the gun and the Pistons are getting bodied. Anthony Black, Wendell Carter Jr., just all of them, just doing everything. Jalen Suggs has been everywhere, and Desmond Bane been shooting lights out, even though, like Carter also stated out, he's been a little bit inefficient in some of the games, but he's made them count when they needed to. And yeah, it's just the craziest story. Like, I feel like this should be like a 30 for 30 episode, like in a couple of years, of how the Orlando Magic pretty much sucked the whole year that they were supposed to be number 1, number 2 in the Eastern Conference. Had to go and play 2 games in the play-in, and then had to play against the number 1 seed and possibly kick them out of the playoffs. That should make for a good story. But yeah, shout out to them, because they didn't have a lot of time to get together. Like, this time last week or a week or 2 weeks ago, people were talking about Jamal Mosley might not be their coach no more. So for them to turn it around, and from the dysfunction that they had in that little bit of time, definitely kudos to them. Paolo's playing well as well. I think he's starting to realize, like, he's a load in the paint. Like, he's got to get down there a little bit more. I think good things happen for him when he does. Cavaliers and Raptors, not surprised at all. I think we talked about this. We know James Harden likes to trick away games. Not surprised. The Raptors are playing hard. Shout out to Murray Bowles. My man was on the glass like nobody's business these last couple of games. I was like, every time I looked up, he was getting an offensive rebound, and his offensive rebounding in that last game definitely helped them get to that victory in that game. And like you said, RJ Barrett playing lights out, Scotty Barnes, and doing all of this again without Emmanuel Quickly. And yeah, I'm with you guys. The Cavs are on the clock. We've been talking about this for a while. I can't remember who their coach was before they fired him and got Kenny. And, they were like, we're right here. And again, this was supposed to be part of their year. We know we talked about the Celtics being in a gap year. So this was supposed to be the Pistons, the Magic, and the Cavs being the top and fighting for it. And, and arguably the team that they thought they wanted to go against, the Raptors, are tied 2-2. So not too surprised, but we'll see if James Harden can get his life together and get the rest of them. And like you also said, Jared Allen, because I think a lot of it goes through their bigs, and Jared Allen and Evan Mobley as well. So we'll see how that works out. Knicks and Hawks has been fun as well. The back and forth. They're putting it on them now. I think maybe they're a little bit tired of people talking about them. and everybody kind of just like, what is going on? But we've seen the Hawks kind of fight back as well. I haven't turned to the game yet, so I'm assuming that they are playing through Karl Anthony Towns, because like you already stated, when Karl Anthony is focused on what he needs to do and he knows there's nobody out there that can stop him, they got to give him the ball. We know how great Jalen is. He's had a couple of faux pas at the end of the 2 games that they lost, not getting a shot off, not getting the ball where it needs to. And we know he got exposed a little bit on defense by CJ McCollum earlier in the series as well. They seem to kind of rectify that as well. But my man, Mikal Bridges, he has been MIA. Whew, Jesus. I don't know where he is. The five picks that they traded for him, I know that's what everybody's talking about. And I know it's been a couple of years, but you can't have a goose egg in a playoff game after that, bro. Like, that's just diabolical. So he gonna need to get it together, or they're gonna need to do like they have been doing and giving some other players a little bit more playing time. Jordan Clarkson, Deuce McBride, but Mikal Bridges, bad luck all the way around. Last but not least, Celtics and the Sixers. Not surprised. I told you guys this before the series started. Boston always tricks away a game when it comes to playing against the Celtics. I don't know what it is. We know they are up and down depending on how their 3-point shooting goes. They have a good 3-point shooting night. Usually it's smooth sailing, but when it's not, it gets a little bit tricky. BJ Epscombe had a great game, I believe, in game 2. But like you also stated, he's a rookie, so he's having up and down. And then the return of Joel Embiid. While his numbers were good, it didn't really translate into them getting a W. And it took away from the shots that were probably needed for VJ Epscombe to get going, as well as Tyrese Maxey. I think they said he had 4 shots in the whole first half in their last game. I know he had way more than that in the first half of this game so far. So it's close. They always play close, in my opinion. I just think that that's just how they play. But I expect the Celtics to kind of pull it out. I just always like to say, like, for whatever reason, I think the Celtics just like to end the series at home. So they just like to trick away a game so they can come back home and play one more time, which is not good. But I think that's just what always happens. But yeah, very interesting. Can't wait to get to my TV and watch the rest of the games tonight.
Yeah, look, my 2 cents is take 10 seconds. The Thunder was chalk, no issue there. The Lakers Rockets series, I hope everybody understands how important point guards are and just how not as advanced folks are this day and age in between the years. Because that was disgusting to watch Houston give that game away. Considering it could be 2-2 if you, what was it, Cardo, got the ball past half court. Even with the Reed Shepard turnover, the other one, the one by Jabari Smith that was unforced, was almost equally as damning because no one was bothering you. You just panicked. Like,
Man, that was a Brock Osweiler pass, man.
bro, like,
No.
it was bad. And I know Reed's getting a lot because what he did was inexcusable. It was the group of them. Just, it was literally like a disaster class on a PhD level.
More skilled,
You
right?
know,
More skilled generation.
more skilled.
Forward.
It's everywhere but in here. 3 smart passes.
How much y'all can pass half court?
One would think. The Nuggets Timberwolves series, it sucks for the Timberwolves because they look like the arrow was pointing like we about to get them out of here. And then those injuries, devastating injury, obviously. With Donso, we know what the Achilles looks like for everybody. That's a tough road to come back from. Thank God that wasn't as bad as it could have been. Because boy, we've seen that in different ways before. But all things considered, like the Nuggets, you got 2 cracks to get 1 game. Not the Nuggets. I'm sorry. Remember, you got 2 cracks ahead to get 1 game. You have a great opportunity despite everything that happened. You just have to win 1 out of 2, and you advance. The Spurs and the Blazers. Yeah, if we didn't have concussion gate, you know, y'all be the same place the Suns would be right now, Portland. It's not a knock on you. Just there's a little bit of a gap there, and I think we were all anxious to see how the kids would perform in San Antonio, and I think they've all performed admirably in their own different ways. And shout out to De'Aaron Fox being a vet, having moments as well. Hey man, it's like was a Civil War when they had Bucky tied up and they my man hit the activation code on Bucky. That's what happened to Orlando in the play-in. Apparently, I don't know. I don't know how you go from can't get right to having the number 1 seed in hell, like in hell. Cardell, I know you mentioned like Orlando's been pretty efficient offensively, but it feels like no matter what happens, every possession, whether it's off of the defense, they're making Detroit steal them, and Detroit is not responding well to it at all. For the Cavs and the Raptors, hey man, discussions have to be had. There's a couple people that turn into straight pumpkins come the postseason. Even with the Suns, I won't leave this man out. And I'll tell you, you mentioned one of the two guys with the initials DB. Devin Booker's been getting away with murder over there quietly for what he has or has not done. If you're going to be in a part of that group, then we have to treat you as a part of that group. That's just how things go around these parts. The same energy would have for James Harden and that, and people feel like you're in that group. Both of you all, as soon as we get to this time of year, disappear. Like, think about this. You just got the brooms, and we're talking about Dylan Brooks probably being the most consistent person for the Suns in that series. That's unacceptable, sir.
Probably.
Dylan Brooks. Dylan Brooks was the best player on the Suns in that series. Sir, that's unforgivable. James Harden been getting away with it for a little while. Jared Allen, Lord. Yeah, things like right now, like it's a fact, Jared Allen. It's almost like you got enough chances to try to fight against it. These are officially charges at this point. Yeah, with the Hawks and the Knicks, go figure. Um, get the ball to a big and let them cook, and things could go places. That's really interesting. Who freaking knew? But let's keep letting midget guards do things and hope for the best because why not? Celtics and the Sixers, yeah, they got a weird relationship. I just leave those two teams alone. That's their business. But I expect the Celtics to take care of business. They just have a weird way of doing it. It just never.
Just
It
never.
should be 4-0. It should be 4-1. They just find a way to make it interesting, and it just disgusts me. But Philly's another place I got to have conversations. Because in my mind, you got that young backcourt. Everything else, what is it there for? Like, like Joel, I know with the injuries and what have you, but discussions, man, it's nasty over there in the East with some of those discussions. Like, it's disgusting. We came in the year, it's all wide open, whatever. Man, the usual suspects, they lost one of their best players for a year. And they still a 2 seed. Nobody made up any crap. In Detroit, you appear to take advantage of it. And then you on the verge of getting drop kicked out the playoffs by the Winter Soldier Magic over there. It's nasty work. Ricardo, where you want to go?
Man, teams.
Uh, by an 8 seed, which almost negates the regular season you had. Because we just going to remember that if Orlando gets it done, all we're going to remember is a playing team.
Be the number 1 seed, man.
Yep.
And if it ends up being 4-1, a playoff team gave you the belt in the first round.
And would this be the first year a playing team beat up from number 1? It has to be. Be the number 1
I think
seed.
it has to be.
Yeah.
I feel like it has to be. Because most playing teams is almost like an NCAA tournament. You're just offering for the 1 seed.
As a playing team?
You said what?
Didn't the Heat get to the finals one year as a playing team?
Well, I think they were just the AC. I don't think the playing had kicked in yet. There's been plenty of ACs that got to the finals, like that Knicks team and that played the Spurs in '99.
99, yeah.
Sprewell, Allen Houston, them boys, yeah. Oh, and like the Nuggets.
I'd say you was right. 2023, the Heat became the first ever playing team to defeat a 1 seed when they beat the Bucks.
Oh, the Jimmy Cook.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Didn't they go to the finals that year?
Yep.
That was the weird thing they had with the Boston Celtics wasn't it when he had that shot at the end, or I don't remember.
But yeah, so this would be the second time that a play-in knocks off a 1 seed, which is still ridiculous. You're going down in the books, Detroit, if you don't turn this one. Like, that's a crazy way to end the year. The belt from a playing team in the first round. Cardell, where you want to go? Take it or leave it or rapid fire?
Man, we just gonna take it or leave it. A couple questions and get up out of here. News that just broke right before the show. Now, the NCAA has initiated the final steps to expand the men's and women's basketball tournaments to 76 teams. The expansion, which has been discussed for well over years, on track to be formalized in the upcoming weeks and will begin this coming season. Sources indicate mid-May as a potential timeline for an announcement, though there are still steps to take in terms of approvals via various NCAA committees. A source indicated those are just formalities. They have what they need to move forward, a source said. NCAA officials met with media partners for the men's tournament last week. The sides were in the final steps in the media contracts, but they had not been signed. Once the contracts are completed, the NCAA also will need approval from various committees that include the men's and women's basketball committees, the men's and women's basketball oversight committees, the Division I cabinet, and Division I board of governors. For the various NCAA committees to vote, the contracts will need to be signed for their approval. Take it or leave it. Expanding this thing to 76 teams, Octavia.
I'm gonna leave it. I don't know how many more teams we need. I mean, I feel like it's all money based. They want more revenue. I think 66 is enough. I mean, I get it. They see how popular March Madness is, how much revenue comes in from it, but I feel like they're gonna start having teams like 16 losses making the league, making the March Madness tournament, and for me, it takes a little bit away of the lackluster of making it. You're gonna have coaches sitting up there saying like, "Hey, I made the tournament, even though I had, 17 losses, but we made it, and then we lost." So I get it for the aspect of fandom, entertainment, revenue, but as far as do I think we need 10 more teams? No, but I just think that in this day and age in college sports, that they're just always looking to increase their revenue and increase their bottom line. And I feel like that with this way, it's killing two birds with one stone. There are people who want to see more teams, and there are teams who want to be in more. So, I guess.
Right.
Yeah, definitely leaving it. It's a money grab, pure and simple. Send them extra teams to the NIT where they belong. And my main, when they first started having this expansion conversation, my main thing was going to be, we have those teams that we talk about that were on the bubble or first four out every year, things like that. Like, it's not like they're expanding to add teams that deserve it. They're expanding. They ain't going to do nothing but add teams with names to throw in the tournament. Like, the selection committee already be doing some wacky stuff sometimes. So now we just giving them even more opportunities to mess up. So I hope in these final stages something happens to derail this, because I have no interest.
Wilson.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave it, but obviously it's gonna happen. My concern is with the committee. They already don't do a good job of getting teams, deserving teams in. Like, what was it? Was it Miami of Ohio this
Yep.
year that was freaking undefeated and got treated like a stepchild for no reason? And then I think it's like there was a couple teams in the bigger conferences that literally were there for like an appearance fee. Like, they literally were not competitive in games, got knocked out. So that's my concern. Is all right, if we could add more teams, can we fix the selecting process? Because otherwise, what's literally the point outside of money?
Yeah, for me, it's twofold. On the men's side, it's about like kind of what Ray touched on. Are you just going to add more Big East teams that are undeserving, or ACC teams that are undeserving, instead of the low major and mid majors that did win games based on your metric system and all that crap? Instead of just watching these games and understanding how good these teams are, like Miami, Ohio, like VCU when they beat North Carolina. Caleb Wilson was hurt still. You gotta watch the games to see how good these teams are. I understand some feel like the metrics and all that, man. I mean, the metrics are what you make of them. And who's to say certain conferences aren't strong just because they ain't play like Power 4 teams? I can't even say Power 5 because the Big East is just the UConn Invitational now. So, I mean, let's keep it real. But some of these mid-major programs and conferences are strong as hell. You know what I'm saying? But they don't get the opportunity. St. Louis, another like A10, same thing. Went in there, did work. You see what I'm saying? So it is what it is. Then on the women's side, as top heavy as the women's side is, and you're gonna add more teams to just go in there and get slaughtered by like South Carolina by like 80. You really think that's good for TV? Yeah, man. Yeah, it is. They are really watering down the sport of basketball at every level and in every way, man. The tournament's supposed to be something special where you work hard all year to earn the right to get in that thing. Win games, win your conference tournament where it feels like something. You're gonna see, like years ago, I remember when Syracuse got in, just because it was Syracuse and Jimmy Boeheim, and they were like 500. You're gonna see more of those type of teams get in that don't deserve it. And then they're gonna just sit back and hope that one of those teams get hot at the right time. You're like, see, we told you that's why they deserve to be. Like, cut it out, man. So that's what you're about to see. But then the women, it's just gonna be more slaughter. It's gonna be tough to watch. So now if you add 76 games, what is gonna be another week? Gotta be. At
Pretty
least.
much.
So it's just another week on the women's side is just slaughters, like 50-point loss, 50. You see what I'm saying? Like, come on now. This is not good. Last question. More and more news on the NBA side. Adam Silver, an NBA quest to end tanking reached a new level of complexity on Tuesday when the league unveiled a new plan to the 30 league GMs on a conference call. This new 3-2-1 system, named after how many ping pong balls each team will get, depending on depending upon their finish, will expand the lottery to 16 teams. Here's how the new system will break down. The teams with the three worst records in the league will fall into a relegation zone and be penalized by only getting 2 lottery balls, not 3 like other teams that missed the playoffs. Those 3 teams will have a 5.4% chance at the number 1 pick, and then this system could fall no further than 12, meaning the team that has the worst, the team that was the worst this season before could will draft 10th, 11th, or 12th. Teams that missed the playoffs but were not one of the worst 3 teams, 4 through 10 at the bottom of the standings, will get 3 lottery balls and an 8.1% chance at the number 1 pick. Teams that finish as the number 9 and number 10 seeds in each conference will get 2 lottery balls. Teams that lose the 7-8 play-in for each conference get 1 lottery ball, 2.7% chance of landing the number 1 pick. Teams cannot win the number 1 pick in consecutive years or have 3 consecutive top 5 picks. Going forward, teams cannot protect picks in slots 12 through 15. The NBA will have to expand authority to relegate and discipline tanking teams and potentially remove some of their lottery balls. This system would expire in 2029, at which time it could be extended, modified, or scrapped entirely. This or any new system put in place will need to be approved by a vote of the NBA owners, which is scheduled for May 28th at the Board of Governors meeting. The key points in the framework have a majority of the support from teams, according to ESPN Shams Charania. Ray, what are your thoughts on the new tanking system, man?
I mean, I'm gonna take it just because, yeah, screw tanking, man. They deserve everything they're getting at this point. You know, people still want to try to find a way to game the system, but yeah, at least they're taking some measures. But yeah, like this is what we have now because of the consequences of your actions coming back around. Look at that. So yeah, the fact that we even here is annoying to begin with, but yeah, at least they're trying to course correct, you know, and they gave them a trial period. You know, y'all can get y'all life together in 3 years, or you're not, and this just is going to be life. So yeah, I'm all for it. Anything to try to get people back to doing their jobs, I'm for it.
Wilson.
Oh yeah, definitely taking this. You deserve nothing for choosing to do what you did. You don't deserve it. Like you just don't. Because as usual, it takes a couple people to take something and mess something up for everybody. The last 3 or 4 years watching this league, what teams have chosen to do. And then some of y'all don't even do it right. Let's keep that part out there too. My whole thing is some of y'all not even good at doing a thing. So yes, you deserve it. Like at least if you're going like manufacture an outcome, get something for it. Some of y'all been doing it for like 5, 6 years, and you still trash. So what was the point? Yeah, I'm here for it. And please keep even with this system. I dare you, bad teams, to keep trading with Sam Preston. You deserve it. You literally deserve it. Because like Ray said, it's not that hard to do your job, man. And if the wrong people are in there, find better people to do the job. This doesn't make sense. Like think about this. We got like 5 to 7 teams tanking a year, right?
Mm-hmm.
And OKC has better draft picks than some of you, and y'all try to lose.
Great point.
Do y'all know what that sounds like? You couldn't even think right. You couldn't even lock in on the thing. Yeah, y'all deserve all of this. Because at least if you gonna do it, like I would give San Antonio credit. At least they got the thing. They got the
Twice.
thing
Twice.
twice. So like, there's an art to it. Clearly, y'all not even studying. They just it came out with generations both times. Some of y'all been doing this for years and have nothing to show for it. But these, but this new agreement, this is what you guys are, rules and regulations, because you are that bad at taking it. Shout out to y'all. Applause is all around.
I'll say
Yeah, I'm taking it as well. Like Ray said, it's sad that it has to come to the point that we have to do stuff like this just to get people to do their jobs and not just try to fail up. Basically, like people are just trying to fail in order to get a leg up, which is just soft. Um, I hate they got to do it, but they got to do something. And I actually like that they're having a trial period to evaluate and figure out, is this working? Is it not working? And if it's working, keep it. If people have gotten their act together, I don't even say take it away. Like, cause I feel like they always want to try to find a way to game the system regardless. So if it's working, keep doing what you're doing. If it's not working, go back to the drawing board, tweak some things. People should take the information that you have gained from the previous trial period and tweak it, because we should not be rewarding failures. This is the NBA. This is not, oh, you get a participation certificate at the end of the season. Like, we're not 12. Like, these are grown ass men that's getting paid millions of dollars. These are grown ass men that are getting paid millions of dollars not only to play basketball but to coach basketball, to make basketball decisions, to scout, to do all of these things that you guys should be doing. So yeah, I don't think that anybody should be rewarded for mediocrity. So I'm definitely taking it. I'm excited to see how it goes. I think they said that it still has to get approval by the owners.
yeah.
I would be interested just to see how that goes. I don't know if that has any leverage. I don't know if the owners are going to be mad about it. So I don't know how that will work. But I'm excited to see it move forward and actually gets put into practice.
I think the owner's gonna be for it because I think majority of the owners are out there losing money. They're feeling it.
Good point.
Like, no disrespect. We covered the team here in DC. They did it, right? They tank, they don't want to admit it. If they come into your city and 7 of the top 10 not playing, and then they bringing up a bunch of G League guys, why would people want to see that? You know what I mean? It's just
To go to no Wizards game.
and then it's petty, and then it's pettiness, and like we see it. Oh, you not bringing your players? You're gonna sit our players, and then it's that back and forth. Especially when we come to your time, we're gonna sit our players. How you gonna mess up our game? It's that, and it's like it's childish stuff. Y'all know I can't stand tanking. What are we working for? If you're a player and you working out all summer, then you come in there, yeah, we're gonna tank this year. Why the hell I work out all summer? I could have been chilling on the beach. But if you come in out of shape and you not ready to play, front office gonna be mad at you. So shouldn't the players be mad at the front office for not actually working and making the proper moves to try to put this team in position to win some games?
But they should.
And what does it guarantee? Sure, the Spurs, they got Tim Duncan and Wembanyama, no doubt, but guess what? Those were decades apart. Those only come around so often, and there's no guarantee you will get that. Then on top of that, if you get that, you gotta be on point to select that. Sometimes a quality player is in the draft and they still make the mistake of passing on them. Luka Doncic, for example. No disrespect, Marvin Bagley over Luka. Right? You know what I'm saying? Like it's just certain things you just can't get back, man. So yeah, man. My thing is it guarantees nothing. It establishes a losing culture. It's a slap in the face of the people that do work hard to try to do their jobs and takes pride in their job, take it personal, because they're part of a losing organization. And then a lot of people, and this not being talked about enough, when the ultimate decision makers elect to lose, eventually a lot of people lose their jobs that had nothing to do with that. Because if you don't win, all hell, as soon as the public start getting mad, that's when the guy that owns the teams like, all right, what's going on? Oh, y'all gotta go. And people that don't even know what's going on or even had any input are losing jobs because of that. For instance, like look at New Orleans, and I'm not putting all Zion. I'm just saying since he's been there, look how many people have came and gone because he couldn't stay on the floor. You feel what I'm saying? Like it's deep, man. And that's not cool. And then that's on your resume. They be like, then you try to get another job. Oh, I'm gonna hire you. You was with that team? Oh, hell no. I don't want that over here in my organization. So it's a trickle-down effect. It proves nothing now. So I'm glad that the league is kind of finally taking steps to try to check all that, man. Like, be professional to your jobs. You shouldn't be saved from doing your job. If you can't do the job, then someone else needs to be in that seat, need to be in that role, need to be in that position. It's as simple as that. That's just life. I don't care if it's the NBA. I don't care if you're trash man, bro. If you can't lift these trash cans to get in the back of the trash truck, dog, you got to go, bro. Like you slowing things up, man. So why should they be protected from that, man? You know what I'm saying? Especially with all the resources that are here to allow you to efficiently evaluate players to make a educated decision on who will be a fit for your franchise. It's just crazy. And you brought up OKC, Wilson, and they draft they undrafted players come in and do work, dog. Like it's sad, man. But it's on you, Wilson. Thank you, Adam Silver, for checking this. Hopefully it changes that, because some stuff we seen this season, man, it was tough to be in the building. I ain't gonna lie, it was just tough.
And you brought up when we got here, you brought up New Orleans with the Pelicans. What's going on? Memphis. She went left in Memphis so quick. Uh, and they had another member of that draft class. In August, those decisions matter. Some people make good decisions, some people don't. I'm looking forward to this trial period. But also, I'd be aware of you bad teams. If they extend the lottery, that means, for example, like this year, I think OKC ends up with I think they have the 16th pick in the first round. That means it would be lottery if they extend the lottery. So again, keep in mind when y'all get to trading and doing the weird things y'all do for no reason. Some of y'all just like being inherently bad. I'm very interested to see what happens in this trial period. But yeah, it needs to be done. We appreciate you guys as always. Don't forget, get over to thefocustv.com, over on Roku, and obviously on Amazon Fire TV as well. All you gotta do is search for the Focus TV, double tap okay on the remote, add the channel, and we'll see you guys next week. Mystics Outlook, folks. We'll see y'all Sunday afternoon. I believe their game starts at 3. So we'll check in with you guys for pregame and Outlook on Sunday.